San Angelo's Water Advisory Board has begun working with consultants to craft a water rate structure that would accomplish three major goals. Those are to generate the revenue the water utility needs to operate, to allow for greater investment in the city's water infrastructure, and to help fund the development of future water supplies.
The city is not in a position now that financially is sustainable. As we tried to illustrate and convey to the board, and I think they understood it, we are not appropriately covering our costs. Our costs are in excess of our revenues, and it's a situation that can't be sustained.
Additionally, board members want new rates to encourage water customers to maintain the conservation mindset they've adopted in recent years.
And how can we continue to achieve maximum conservation, but without it coming at a cost to where we can't operate or sustainably operate the budget? And I think we've got to figure out those solutions of how those two almost competing elements can coexist.
On July 14th, the Water Advisory Board heard the preliminary findings from Raftellus Financial Consultants, which has conducted water and wastewater rate studies throughout the nation. Raftellus found the operating cost of San Angelo's water utility are comparable to that of similar cities across the U.S. However, San Angelo's spending on capital improvements such as water main replacements represents only a fraction of that of comparable communities.
The system's aging, and San Angelo is not unlike other communities. Aging infrastructure, and just over the years, the inability to step up and really address that. And so we have an infrastructure here today that it will take, at today's funding levels, well in excess of 40, 50, 60 years to finally replace it all. And so during that time, if we stay on this path, service levels will diminish. We'll have more breaks, we'll have more ruptures, more interruption in service. And then you layer that on top of the drought scenario, and we really have a very difficult situation today.
Drought restrictions have prevented water sales revenue from meeting budgeted figures since 2012. That has forced the utility to dip into its fund balance. As costs continue to rise, Raftellus warns San Angelo's water utility will fail to be self-sustaining, its fund balance will plunge into red ink, and it will be unable to repay its debt service if rates do not change. Raftellus said the water utility could meet its debt service obligations, eliminate its operating deficit, and build a 75-day fund balance by 2020 if rates were raised 20% next year and 5% each of the subsequent 4 years. But the utility would be unable to undertake any new capital projects or debt service. A third option would involve increasing water and wastewater rates 20% next year and 10% each of the subsequent 4 years. That would allow future water supply projects and greater improvements to water mains and the wastewater treatment plant, along with achieving financial sustainability.
The most important thing is that we got out today. I think what's really going on with utility and the magnitude of the financial situation that we're in and what we need to do to come out of that.
Board members noted Raftellus did not account for the city's ability to use up to 72% of half-cent sales tax collections to fund water supply projects such as a potential $130 million effort to treat wastewater to drinking standards. The board asked the consultant to factor that into its recalculations, which would lessen the impact on consumers. Raftellus also proposed a simpler rate structure that includes fewer tiers and separates residential and commercial rates so each type of customer pays their fair share. The board wants to see a structure that includes differing rates for drought levels. All agree new rates must continue to encourage conservation.
And you heard it from this board is we need to conserve more water. We need to use less water. But at the same time, also the discussion that doing that in the past is what's put the utility in the financial position it is because nothing was done to counteract that. We can't continue that. So while we need to have the same conversation, to have the conversation at the same time because we still have water supply issues, we have to start having the conversation about the financial stability of the utility.
All involved also agreed that while a rate increase makes good financial sense, it will likely be a tough sell to the City Council and to citizens. Board member Stan Metter called an increase a necessary evil.
I don't know anybody that doesn't wake up in the morning and expect water to come out of their tap to be able to take a shower and brush their teeth or boil a pot of water. So I don't think it's a question of, if we do this, it's a question of how we do it. As I indicated a minute ago, we're looking at an equitable distribution of increases across the board of all users. It is a necessary evil. I just don't see there any way around it.
The board will continue its work on water rates July 24th. It has set a tentative goal of having new rates in place by January 1st. For SATV, I'm Anthony Wilson.